Good afternoon, our lovely viewers. Welcome to S-Class. Remember, S-Class social media show that happens every single Friday of the week, and we based at China Uganda Friendship Hospital. It's always like funded by Naguthe the Network. It's a youth-friendly corner that is at China Uganda Friendship Hospital, and it gives free youth-friendly services every day, Monday up to Friday. It's free. Like every adult 10 24 years, just go and get a service. It's very free. They won't charge you any single money. Today on this class, we're going to discuss about sex in adolescence, and who is responsible to tell an adolescent about sex. At what age do you as an individual get to know about sex or get involved yourself into sex? And who is supposed to play this role of educating us young people, or you a young person, or any single adolescent outside there about sex? Because we have seen very many adolescents go into sexual things, and we don't know who taught them and who is supposed to discuss with them about sex. Is it the parent, the church, or the fellow peers? And today on our panel we have Vicky Kahinju, one of the peers from Naguthe Network, and also we have Muchala Kanyike, a mother. Then we have Thea. She will introduce her name better, but before we even go further, I'm going to first of all give my panel a chance to introduce themselves and tell us about themselves. Let me start from my right side. Yes, Vicky.
Hello everyone, I'm Kahinju Victoria. I work as a peer educator. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Muchala Kanyike, mother.
Good afternoon, all our viewers. You're welcome on this. This is a good evening, I hope, and I would like to have you a good evening as well. My name is Kanyike Ruth Ruheza, a mother, and I work in Naguru as well. You're all welcome.
Thank you so much. Thea.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cynthia Kemigisha, an entrepreneur, and I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much. Then let me just start with the mother. Let us give disrespect to your mother. Let's start with the mother. Who is responsible to educate an adolescent about sexual stuff?
Thank you so much, Mr. Sam. We are in a generation whereby we have a lot of things that are educating peers and teenagers about sex education. But we basically, as parents, we are responsible. And besides that, we have also the teachers. There are teachers that are teaching them. And we also have community educators, people who go to the community to attend to our youths. So basically, we are many people who are supposed to educate our teenagers, adolescents about sex education. But basically, mothers, we take a very big role. If it's in percentage, we take it like 90%. Then the 5 can be with teachers. Then 3 can be with the community educators. Thank you so much.
Then the 2?
The 2?
The 2 goes to who? The
2%. They themselves, because most of the time they go to churches, they are taught by the pastors, they attend to some clubs. Different. They are very different things, but at least 90% supposed to be parents.
Supposed to be parents.
Yeah.
Then to you, Vicky, like when was your first time to get to know about sex, or get information about sex?
My first time was when our auntie sat all of us down, all the girls, and she educated us about sex. They call the things that come about if you are to have sex early, if you are to engage yourself into sex, and then also maybe 5% from school. I learned from my friends. Yeah.
Did teachers play any role when it comes to sex?
The senior women did play a role, but you would feel shy. Like, how do you start telling a senior woman that, you know what, I'm crushing on this one? The first person you tell is your friend or your sister. So yeah.
Okay. Then if I ask here, how, like, if adolescents right nowadays involve themselves into sex, where did our country go wrong? Where does the community go wrong when it comes to things of sex?
I think we need to teach peers that sex should be a choice. And it's not a choice you should make, let me say, when you're 15, 16, because at that time you're still too young. You're acting on your emotions and your hormones. You're not using your head. And someone who is 15 and 16 shouldn't be having sex. But let me say, when you're like 18, 20, you at least know the repercussions. You know about AIDS, you know about STDs, you know about pregnancy, possible pregnancies, and you know how to go about all those things. Besides, someone who is 15, they're like in senior 4, right? Senior 4, senior 3. And at that age, you should be in school focusing about very many things. And if someone who is in senior 3 begins having sex, they're supposed to be concentrating about books. It is very easy to get distracted, especially for the boys. For the girls, of course, it messes them up. And the regrets and everything, it kind of haunts you as you go up. Because personally, I went to a single school and we were taught about sex by our senior women and the headmistress. At home, she said mothers should be teaching 90%. But it's funny how a mother cannot sit down a child and tell you about sex.
It's very
Like,
hard.
realistically speaking, it does not happen. So if you're a girl, first of all, you first see sex in a movie, then you will discuss it among your friends, but openly telling you, like, this is what happens, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to, and everything happens mainly in school. So I think it's mainly the teachers and maybe the elders. A mother might be hard, but the elder sisters and the teachers should sit down, girls, talk to them and make them know it is a choice you're supposed to make, not influenced by your boyfriend or by your friends and everything. And virginity is a good thing. People should stop looking at it as a curse, especially like now. If you're 20 and you're a virgin, everyone will look at something is wrong with you, and yet it is actually a good thing. Because I'm not saying not being a virgin is not okay, but it's something like pride. So you choose who to give it to. It's like a gift. You choose who to give it to. At 16, you're not giving it to someone you really want to give it to. So like when you're 20 or 25, you know where life is going. You're acting based on what you really want. Yeah, I think that's my message.
Then when it comes to Muchala Kanike, like if you go into the side of the region, why doesn't the church and also some priests from in church, why don't they talk about sex, like to, like, at least for people to know, for these adolescents to know about sex? Because most of these adolescents gather from churches, but mostly we focus on the biblical side of it, talk about God, and we forget that these teenagers, sometimes they are those who meet themselves at church and even like book themselves and go have sex in communities or discuss about sex, not learning it from the church or from anyone else, at least from the church side of it.
Thank you so much. You find that at church we gather different ages. We have those ones that are children, we have the adolescents, we have those ones who are mature adolescents, and also elderly. So basically, if you bring it as a topic, it may not really work for the entire church. However, in church we have forums like youth forums, we have the adolescents, we have the teenagers. So when they form their clubs, basically those are the topics they talk about. And also pastors, they always give topics to the youth leaders and youth chairpersons to bring in as a topic. Just in case there is a question that they don't understand, they refer to their elderly for guidance and leadership about sex education. So in church they always do it, but in specific groups. Yeah, because you may not speak everything, some will not understand the bed kind of things, they will not understand. Because if you are talking about sex education, it has a lot of steps. There is sex when it is starting. There is sex when it is now after children. There is sex when you are just maintaining a family. All that is sex education. So, but when you are talking about the teenagers or the adolescent, there is a certain class of sex education you have to give them. Therefore, because of that, we have to use the teenage groups, the youth forums to teach about sex education, because there is that standard that they have to know, not everything about sex that they will have to know, like you produce like this and this, because that is also sex education. Therefore, we do it at church, but we leave it for a certain group of people. Yeah.
Then when it comes to Vicky, what are some of the things that an adolescent should know about sex? Like when it comes to sex, what are some of the things that an adolescent should know, and what shouldn't this adolescent get to know?
I think the adolescent should know mostly about the infections that come about when you engage yourself into sexual intercourse. they should know that if I'm to start having sex with this person, I may get an infection with from this person. I may get various things from the person. But then again, an adolescent should also know that when is the right time to have sex. Because someone may think that when I'm in puberty stage, I've developed boobs, I have a deep voice, I should have sex. But when is the right time to have sex? I think also the parents, the senior women, they should tell the children, more so than taking us to those small corners, or call those culture things, to because most people teach on sex education. They educate us how to keep a man. They don't educate us how to the things that come about sex. Because not all the time you want to have sex and keep a man. No, maybe you just want it for yourself, for satisfaction. So I think they should educate the youth, most of this generation, this millennial generation, about the causes, the effects that come about.
When it comes to theory, if you look at our schools, they talk mostly about abstain, then they forget the other words that they should tell these adolescents. If the adolescent here abstain, because I always say that curiosity killed the cat. If you tell me don't go there, of course I will want to go and see, like the experiment. Why is it that most of the schools don't focus on the deep thing of it, like don't have sex? If you have sex, these are some of the things that may happen. Of course, sometimes have them in our heads, but what is mostly forcing these adolescents to involve themselves into sex when it comes to your side?
I think it's unrealistic for the teachers to tell us about abstinence, because by the time you're 15, actually a kid of 10 has at least seen people kissing on TV. So they know, like our parents and the teachers, in their time, I'm sure they learned about sex maybe at 16 when they're almost getting married. While us, we see people kissing everywhere. People kiss on the malls, kids are passing. So I think we should go back and sit down and strategize, because telling someone to abstain is actually funny. Because I don't think there's anyone who abstains only because the teacher told them. So because at that age, honestly speaking, most of the time the kids who have sex at 15, they're not using their heads, they're using their emotions and hormones. So you're supposed to teach them instead to keep them in check. How are you doing that? Teach them if you have all these desires and everything, it is first of all normal. Because for the boys, sometimes they get stigma from their fellows. People get erections in class and everyone is laughing about it. So we should tell them it is actually very normal to have an erection. How do you go about it? Not every time you have an erection you should have sex. Now if you're 15 years of age, you have no business being with a girl. There's nothing you're offering her. And it actually affects most of the people who have had sex when they're young. As they grow up, those are people who are married and they're not satisfying their partners, because they had all the fun those days. So we should teach them that sex is a beautiful thing, but sacred also. So the issue of telling them to abstain does not work. Instead, we tell them about, first of all, keep your feelings in check. If you fail to do that, let me say you're 18 and you're sure you want to do it. If you want to do it, if you're a girl, educate yourself about personal hygiene. How are you going to go into it? That is what the parents and the mothers and the senior women don't tell us. That is why people's marriages break up, because we know about the sex of the diseases and not how do I make it good. How do I like it? Because the very many women who don't like sex.
Sex oriented.
And because of the stigma, like in the African traditional culture, we don't talk about sex.
Yeah, definitely.
And yet it's a very important topic, because most of the people who are married and they are not having sex, it creates an unhappy environment around the kids. Everyone is sad. People begin cheating. Side chicks come in the picture. So and yet it's a very small thing. Especially the teens, if you grow up knowing this is a beautiful thing, I'll do it with someone I love, someone who treats me right, especially for the girls, someone who treats me right. She'll get married knowing this is something I should be enjoying with my husband. Also knowing that she will not allow any small boys to play with her, because she knows she's special, her body is special, it's supposed to be worshipped by the right man. And for the men, when you teach them to keep their feelings in check, they learn how to respect the girls. Because I see online people say this girl dresses up indecently. That's why she attracts people. That's why here people rape her. And yet how I dress up is an expression of how I feel. I should not be scared of showing cleavage or showing my thighs only because that boy is going to think this. That boy should be taught that his feelings should be kept in check. Because honestly speaking, even in the countries where people wear hijabs and cover and the only eyes showing, people are still raped.
Yes.
So it's about teaching the men, because the girls at home, even traditionally, when you're growing up, they teach you how to keep a man, how to do everything. It is us supposed to please the men, even in sex. It's like the burden is upon the woman to make sure I'm doing this so I can keep a man, and yet it is something supposed to enjoy as a girl. So the men should be taught about how to go about the matters actually also, because honestly at 15 there is nothing, you've only seen maybe like you've seen porn or something, because it's a very bad vice and people do it a lot, and you're learning from all these things. Instead, like she said in church, if you see your pastor, because when you're growing up, the pastors are like our role models, and the wives of the pastors are like mamas. So if someone who you trust is educating about these things, you kind of understand, and it shouldn't be about the Bible. In the Bible, sex is that people have sex in the Bible. So if we reference like everything, like Adam, Eve was created for Adam. The girl will know my body is supposed to be worshipped by a man, and I was created for this. Not like I'm doing it just because I'm supposed to please a man. I'm doing it just because. And some girls actually do it because, not because they want, but someone's putting them on pressure, or their friends.
Yeah.
If you have friends who everyone is talking about sex, boys and everything, you kind of feel so bad, and that was my experience actually. You kind of feel so bad, as in Form 6, and everyone looks at me like an alien, because I don't know, this isn't a good thing, but if you're in Form 6, I feel like you're still too young
To have sex.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I went to a single school, and this is what we were taught. So I got to a mixed school, and it's like a different world out here. It's like, I don't know, like I felt so bad the whole 2 years I was there. It was like everyone looked at me like something is wrong with me, like a curse. And I began thinking, maybe I haven't actually had it because a man hasn't told me about it.
Nobody approached you about it.
Yeah, and yet it is funny. I had boyfriends before, but I knew that this is not something I just happened. If I'm young, where am I going to do it from? I should be respected as a woman. Who is a 15-year-old boy going to take me? But even if even if you have all this education, but the surrounding and the influence of the people,
The environment.
they are not really educated about things. They will force you into something. That is how you see somewhere a pastor's child, a daughter, and the parents begin wondering, where did I go wrong? And yes, they did their part. Their child knows everything. She's 18, but as a person, she don't think she should have sex. But everyone is telling her about these things. She begins speaking like she feels undesired, not because it is her feeling that, but people are making her feel like that. So at the end of the day, she ends up doing it and having it.
Okay. Thanks so much. Maybe to cut it short, like when it comes to Muchala Kanyike, if you look at the families right now, what is the best age or the right age for you to talk with your daughter or your son about sex?
Okay. When we consider scientific, like if you go science, a child gets to understand at age of 12. That's when we leave the age of children or pediatric, and we get to teenage, 13 up to like 24, that is adolescent. So a child from 13 is a person whereby he wants to launch out, to get to experiment. What is this? And whether a person has seen it on a movie or any social media or any platform and is below 12, most of the times their brains are not mature enough to absorb and to want to exploit what does it really mean to kiss. What does it really mean to produce a child, and how does a child come out, and all things, the disadvantages of having sex. So the right age would be 13. To me, would be 13. But we limit on what education, because we have extent. For example, I think Cynthia or Vicky, one of them, talked about they teach us how to keep a man. Imagine educating a teenager about keeping a man. Someone is in school and you are teaching them to keep a man. That is too much for that person. You're almost sending this person to go and get into someone's marriage, to go and keep someone's man. Because, of course, at that time, that person can't get married.
Yes.
Yeah, but you teach them accordingly, knowing that this person is 13, 14, you just know age group. Between between 13 to 19, you teach them that these are side effects. These are things, the outcome, repercussions, which are very negative, just in case you drop out of school. You get pregnant. Just in case you get HIV/AIDS, you will start on medication and to look so strange to other people who don't take medication. So that is the sex education at that age that is supposed to be. Yes, we are supposed to teach them about sex education, but the right age I would say is 13 to 19. That is for that teenage age group. But it matters what exactly you are teaching them. Yes. Then after 19 to 20, just know this person, for example, it is a woman or a girl, that one has started receiving her periods. Just there is a model you have to tell her that at such and such an age, if you drop out of school, there are no possibilities again of going back. At least it helps you to know, because now this takes us to another thing. If we are going to do sex education, what exactly, at which age group? Those are questions which we have to throw out. To people who want to educate sex education, you have to consider the age group. What do you teach in which age group? Matters a lot. And basically, we have to emphasize on the side effects, the repercussion, the negative repercussion about sex education. But it's not good to keep quiet, because even if you keep quiet, these teenagers will have to know anyway. Where you are not, for them they are. Where on this social media you are not attending to, for them they are there. The televisions, the movies they watch, they also watch and also get to understand. It's now you, a parent, or you, a peer educator, or a community helper, to help them and guide them where they would go wrong, where they would go right. Keeping quiet about sex education does not help anyway, because a person will teach himself or herself and will get it in a negative way. So basically, 13 would be a right age.
13 would be right age according to you. Yes, Vicky, do you think social media has contributed to high number of young people having sex? Or we talk about social media, Facebook, YouTube, and other things, and also we talk about the TV stations, like the series and movies that these young people watch. Do you think that they have contributed to them having knowledge about sex? And if it has contributed, how best can the family or the parents control this?
Of course, social media has contributed a lot of, it has educated the youth out there on how to have sex, because right now, let's look at this pandemic. All of us are home, so you'll be there and you're like, Mommy, I want data. You can watch.
You watch what?
Or something, either you know, like
They might allow even thinking that they are going to go and download topics and yet they are going for other things. You're
like
right.
how they say, and I don't mind, the devil's workshop. So you sit there and you're like, I watched this person on this movie do this, so you go and look for it, you know. I think the best way would be parents to limit the things teenagers watch. They have like these passwords. They put passwords on some channels. Because me, when I grew up, our mom would put passwords on Fox, those Fox channels. Now there's Big Brother, and Big Brother, they don't hide anything. So they would, should put the passwords.
Do you think they will be evaluating the child is right?
No, I don't think. Because at that age, if you are to have sex really at 13, so what will you do when you're at my age, 23, 24? What will you do when you reach my age of wanting to have sex?
Okay.
Because it's not right to start having sex at an early age, because it also makes you lose value, lose yourself. So you have to appreciate that, you know what, I'm God's temple. If I'm to have sex, yes, we have heartbreaks and all those things, I'll have it with the right person. So yeah.
Okay. Then when it comes to theater, does watching a soap or anything pornographic or on any social media or like on TV, does it mean to you to go and have sex? Does this contribute to you to go and elucidate somebody?
I think it does in a way. I don't think it makes someone go have sex, but like, let me say, people begin watching porn at 13, senior one, especially senior one, P7 not really. So maybe P7 the kids in international schools, but senior one in our traditional Ugandan schools. So in senior one, first of all, you fear girls. You're just a boy. Let me say you're 13 or something. You don't really know these things. What is it going to make you do? You're going to begin masturbating. So the second you begin masturbating at 13, it's like a vice. Even when you begin having sex, let me say you keep yourself. Now people should know this. Sex is not all about doing something with a girl. There is more to it. Masturbation is also sex, but that is having sex with yourself. And that is not how God created this thing. It's a beautiful thing, supposed to be enjoyed by two people. So if a boy watches porn, he goes masturbates. It becomes an addiction. Every day or every after 2 days, they're doing it. So at let me say 18, now when they have a girlfriend and everything, this is a kid who has been taught about everything about sex because they think sex is having something with someone. So he thinks he's keeping himself, and yet he's violating the whole thing. So at 18 or 20, when he begins actually to have sex, it will lose meaning to him because he's too used to this thing. People do get married and they prefer masturbation to actually having sex with their women. So I think, okay, personally, I am a reader and I began reading erotic novels at 10. Of course, my mom didn't know because the books were around. I think she didn't know. Anyway, she's not a reader. So the novels belong to, I don't know, but at 10, so I knew about sex at a very young age, very young. Even my sister, still now my sister comes to me and asks me about these things. So when I was at that age...
So you became a consultant?
No, when I was reading about it, I think she said this, because at 10, I didn't really understand. Okay, I knew it.
You were just reading.
Doing this, but as now, right now, of course, if I read an erotic novel, it's going to have an effect on me. But at that time, it's not like I'll get turned on or anything, because I don't understand. Now, I began reading them at 10. By 13, I thought it is a norm, so they could not have anything on me because I was already doing them before. I was already reading the novels before. But I think for novels, it's a little bit different. But for the porn sites and everything, boys
The
really
soaps.
begin, and the soaps actually, because soaps, most of them are censored. They don't really have the actual sex, but the kissing and everything. And the truth is, the second, us kids are funny. If I test something, I'll first be satisfied with it, but then I want to know more, so I'll go back for more. Now in the soap, I'm seeing one Miguel kissing this girl, and he's beautiful, and he's giving her flowers. So in my head, I'll have that fantasy. What will I do? Accept this small boy in the village asking me out. So when I do, I expect what is happening in the soap to actually materialize.
Like
and of course, it's funny. As girls get crushed dreams, it does not happen. It does not happen. So, but because he's not giving me flowers like in the soaps, because soaps are actually good. They teach us how to appreciate someone. So we are saying this there, but the guy is not doing it. So in my head, I will think, I think because I'm not kissing him, that is why he's not giving me these other things. So I'll begin kissing him. And the boys, I think I don't know. Sexually, I think boys are more advanced than girls. Because the first time you kiss for you, the girl, you'll be feeling, you feel like that is enough. At that age, you even feel like that is a sin at that age. But this boy is going to keep wanting more. And at the end of the day, you end up doing it. So the soaps are, I think they are a beautiful thing. But if you're watching a soaps with the knowledge from the pastor, the knowledge from your parents, the neighbor from schools, you actually learn how to appreciate. And you don't look at it like having sex. You look at what are they doing. That actually helps, because no one really teaches people how to have sex. What are you supposed to do? So these things help us. But if you have the knowledge of the sex education, people have told you about all these things, you don't eventually really focus on the sex, you focus about the other things in the soap. So yeah.
Okay. If you're just joining us, just know that we are discussing about sex in adolescence. Who is responsible to educate young people about sex and sexual stuff when it comes to adolescence? Like I remember those days when we are still young, but if they are kissing on TV, they hold your eyes. They become muscle goals. I don't know why they do things are not happening. Like that thing is not happening right now.
No, in
if,
my home it's
if
happening.
a parent
That is
comes,
good.
My
if a
boys
parent comes
they
and
cover
like
eyes.
sees his daughter or his son seeing some guys kissing,
Switch off after.
like no, she will just continue and go and either go in the kitchen or do anything.
Like they will
Like,
go then come back when the thing has ended.
yeah, like parents will just pretend like nothing is happening. It's now normal. Like to you, Michela Kanike. Like why is it like now? It's not like those days. Nowadays, girls don't wear half petty. It's not like those days. I remember.
Girls wear.
Some.
Yeah,
Okay, some.
shoes. I
Okay,
understand.
some girls don't wear half petties like those days.
What do you think is the use of a half pet?
Half petty. What?
I think it was just something like to keep yourself or like
A
for you
half
to
petty
wear.
helps
Oh my
you.
God,
If something
no.
is
In case
transparent.
you are to fall and your dress goes up,
Ah.
it helps you to cover the body parts.
Okay, nowadays girls expose their bodies and everything. Like we see them, like because somebody but I mean always say, if like she said, if they look at you, the way you are dressed, he will be forced to rape
That's
you
how
or
they portray.
like to touch you. Like why is it like nowadays parents don't even care or discuss or like hold their kids' eyes when it comes to scenes of sex on TV or anywhere? Like kids have freedom of doing whatever they want. Where did the country go wrong?
Okay, thank you so much. The country, I would say, as in my view, is like parents these days of recent parents don't have time for their children. Most of the parents are out there seeking for money, how to have this very good car, good house, and so they have not cared about the morals of their children. They don't have time. They don't really have time. Another thing is that we have given our children a lot of things which are so fantasy. For example, those good iPads, of which sometimes these kids can even launch out and get free Wi-Fi's, free data. They may not ask data from you, a parent,
Yeah.
but they have somewhere, somehow, you have them have enough MBs on their phones. So they can go and do everything minus your consultation on anything. So I think where parents we have gone wrong is because we've not created enough time for our children. We don't have a time. We need to create time. Like me, I have two girls, one 15 and 17, in the house, and I've grown them just from to their adopted children. From 2 years to now 17 and 15, and they are bigger than me right now. Actually, in most of the things. But what I've done to them, I have made them friendly to me. I have made them my friends. They are no longer like my cousins or something. They are my friends. Even they come out and tell me, you know, now, sister, this such and such a man was conning me. Such and such a person sent me this money. Can I use it? That is how far we have gone, because I have created time with them. I have created time, but I've not done that perfect work. I would not praise myself, but I would advise parents out there who are viewing, and even those other children, whether you can talk to your parents, that make sure you get closer to your parents, because they have a lot of things to tell you, but sometimes even children don't create time. A parent might call you, you know, you come and we have breakfast together. Mama, I'm coming. You know, Daddy, I'm coming. And they never create time. So please be friendly to parents, and also parents, be friendly to your children. This will really help to create time for you to have this sex education. Because even sharing your experience, how was it at your age, in relation to their age at the moment, so that they can compare notes. And, you know, it is always good when you give out your self-experiment. A person gets it, understand so much than a person who has just watched it on TV or on social media. Thank you.
So when it comes to you, Vicky, do you think our culture, like our cultures, faded and we no longer believe in culture like those days? Because I remember those days, girls used to be sat down by the mother or like a child used to belong to a community. But right now, nowadays, like a child, like he or she belongs to herself or himself. Not to the mother, not to the community, not even to the father. Like you control yourself, you do whatever you want. Do you think like ever since the community gave up, like the culture has faded, and we no longer believe in culture like those days? Because I remember those days, girls used to be sat down by the mother or the mother or like a child used to belong to a community. But right now, nowadays, like a child, like he or she belongs to herself or himself. Not to the mother, not to the community, not even to the father. Like you control yourself, you do whatever you want. Do you think like ever since the on children or on anyone like us when you're growing up? Like, do you think like the world has lost its value, and even our culture, we have lost the culture, nobody believes in us? Like kids, we just run ourselves and do whatever that we want. Do you think like our culture has faded? And if it has faded, like what is the problem?
I think culture has faded because now we are in a new era. We are making money. So
Those
your mom
days,
will
money
make,
was not.
no, those days we had communion service.
Yeah.
You'd wake up in the morning, you go to Sam's place, you give him a toke, he gives you salt. But now people are making money. People are business oriented. They sleep money. They wake up money. So there's no time to sit down with a girl child in your household and be like, you know what, today let's talk about sex. Because my mother would sit down and be like, okay, let's talk about sex. And then everyone would be like, sex? Okay. We are busy homework. My friend has called me, we are going to play. But there was this auntie of ours who would just sit and tell you how everything is. Would tell you, watch color,
Point blank.
or wedding. If you do, and right now we are more close to her than even our parents. So everyone, when they're about to get married or they have like boy issues, they go straight to her, and she's there to listen. Our parents would be like, how do I sit down with my daughter and start saying banana? They feel shy. And right now, my mom cannot sit me down and tell me about sex.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, okay, can I help you somewhere? You see, like, I'm more educated than her. Like, I have vast knowledge. Like, I would sit down and read a novel, and the novel says this. I'll be like, okay. I go and ask my friend will give me this experience. Then when I ask my auntie will give me this experience. So, like, I'll sit down with my mom when she wants to say a point. I'll be like, that one I know. Yeah, auntie told me. This one I know. So, like, I feel she doesn't have, like, that connection with me like my auntie does. So, yeah, I think parents, our real parents, the ones who gave birth to us, are more shy to talk to us about sex than the ones who, we grew up with.
I would also subsidize, also morals. That we have parents who have lost morals.
Yeah.
You find a single mother having like 2 forefathers.
Yeah.
And the children keep asking, Mommy, who is this one? That uncle. This is another uncle. But the uncle sleeps in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So there is, you can't have moral authority to come and educate a
Yeah,
child
yes,
after you having 4 men in your bedroom. So I think also we have to check, as parents, we have to check on our moral.
Does it also apply to a man having more than
Many
wives?
aunties.
Yes.
Men have aunties. They keep us, and even
That's
you
at
hear, you can go to the neighborhood and they tell you, father has auntie who, and so, and auntie so, but they sleep there in the bed, you see. So these kids, even, you teach them with your morals does a lot, your behaviors, does a lot to educate the parents. That's why sometimes parents don't have that authority to come and educate their children, because already for them they have failed.
Yeah.
They have failed in their sexual life. So there is nothing more to teach, because practically they are not.
But even I think the parents have done a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, the women, the mothers. Because
Some.
Some mothers have done a good job. Because men, I don't think fathers can, a father can sit down with a daughter or a son and tell them about something. He will sit
Fathers
down
always
with
sit us down.
the father sit you down only for business.
Actually, I think a father shouldn't. Actually, they don't necessarily need to sit down the girl. I think the girl will look at how does the father treat the women in his life.
Yes.
It is more about the action. Of course, the mother, as the women are so conservative. Usually, it is the father who is cheating or the father who is exposed.
And
women
even if
are
the mother
usually
cheats,
The
she
mother
will not
does
tell.
not cheat.
No, even if the mother cheats, she will not show the children that, you
Yes.
know what, I'm cheating. But the father will rub it in the face.
How?
How?
Night
like,
calls.
A woman
night
is
calls.
out with a kid.
We
Let me
have
tell your
in the
father,
traditional
your
way,
mother is not in the
omusajja
house.
asajjalata,
Yes.
things. They come in like omusajja asajjalata. They don't
Like
mind.
this is a man thing.
When the man,
it's a man's game.
God forbid the man dies. That's when you see the lineage, and they're like, you are
This
the
child
children,
is
this
right.
child is his, this child is his,
52.
this child is his. So
True.
So Thea, for you, when you are growing up, like there's some of the myths and misconceptions that you had about sex. So, like if you look at this era of ours, which is our brain is very open, like we are very smart, we use smartphones, we do a lot of things when it comes to social media, and if, when it comes to sexual stuff, girls date boys, boys date girls. We have very many ways of dating ourselves, either social media, like you send a text or you send an SMS, whatever, or you give a call or you send a WhatsApp. And do you think like when all these things happen, there are some of our fellow teenagers, let me say your young sister or your young brother, do our family members, like the young sisters, the young brothers, do they still look at us as the young role models? Because remember, like if you are the one who is leading the family, like if you are the head of the family when it comes to kids, yeah, you have a lot of contribution. If you mess up, trust me, even some brothers and sisters of yours may mess up because they follow you. And don't you think that nowadays we need to focus more on our brothers and sisters, not to lose our values than those days? Because now we have very many young sisters and brothers who are following us. Where is the problem? Why is it like nowadays brothers and sisters don't even give guidance to themselves? They, apart from just go on, use my phone, call your boyfriend, nobody cares like those days it used to be.
I think personally, I have a young brother. He's not really young. He's bigger than me, but he's like 2 years younger than me. I didn't talk about him. I didn't talk with him about sex. He went to a seminary school. We all went to single. So of course, like I actually don't know about anyway. I know because I went to a mixed school. In the single schools, these are things they sit down and tell you point blank. It's not like in mixed schools. I think it's because people are usually mixed genders, so that's why maybe teachers don't feel comfortable. But in single schools, we know this. They bring in boys. Like, we know horn is a normal thing. Now, me, I cannot sit down with my brother until I used not to sit down with him. But when he came to senior 5, yeah, he began having a girlfriend. Not girlfriends. And I used to hear him talk to his friends on phone, and used to call girls bitches. It's the first time it got to me, and I kept quiet. The next time, then sometime they were together with my cousin, and they're talking about bitches. So it got to me because I was like, okay, if my young brother is calling another girl a bitch, it means my colleagues, the men in my life, might be calling me a bitch. So that is, I think we should be the other gender's keeper. So I sat him down and I told him, would you be feeling comfortable if another guy was calling me a bitch? He's like, no, there's no way I can be called a bitch. I'm like, okay, so what's the difference between me and that other girl? What? As boys, they kind of have lost the value for the girls. And it is the girls, the sisters. It is funny how a boy will look at you, the sister, as very, very high, and the next girl as nothing. And yet both of you are girls. So, because my brother doesn't joke with us. We are 2 sisters and one boy. He doesn't joke with us. He cannot allow anyone to disrespect us. So I told him, the same way you don't allow anyone to disrespect me, should be the same way you don't disrespect someone else's sister. So if us the sibling, and parents, our parents, I don't actually blame them because we are in different times, Bambi. Those days, and the kind of sex they knew those days, the kind of education they got was for their time. The sex education we need right now should be actually us educating ourselves. So you don't need to go somewhere to learn. Let me ask, like for example, you put in a new phone and you want to know how to use it. Did you go to people to ask? Of course no, you go just Google, how do I use this iPhone? And you get it. So it is about self-education. You as a person, if let me say you failed, because at our age, at 23, 24, 22, but at this age, of course I have very many regrets. So I think when I discuss these things with my younger sisters, I don't have a young sister, but my big sister is like my young sister. So if you're close, and she can come and tell you, my guy did this, my guy did this. Now my sister was at campus, I think 2nd year, and her boyfriend was just a virgin, and he was pressurizing her to have sex. There's no one she could go to, and we weren't even close. But I think because she knew I was not a virgin by then. I was actually also I was in 1st year, but she knew because I went to a mixed school. In a single school shelters, you be like an egg, nothing. So because I went to mixed, and I was exposed, and she didn't really. I don't think she knew I was not a virgin by then, but she felt like I'm more exposed than her. So she came and told me, I talked to her. Mine should not pressure you. If you feel like you want it and you're very, very sure, it's when you're supposed to do it. She did not listen to me, of course. That is how things work. But at least you told someone. So if you grow up and you're telling you actually even how you're treating girls. So now let me say Vicky is like 22. She has a sister at 10. She's growing. She's seeing Vicky with different boyfriends. She's seeing Vicky allow men to disrespect her on phone or even in person. Her boyfriends are not treating her well. They don't give her any gifts. They don't treat her like a woman. They're not loving on her. So maybe she will grow up thinking, I'm supposed to be treated like trash. Because even the mothers, especially single mothers, not even single mothers, even if you're married, and the girl is seeing the mother be disrespected by the man, like you're not in a love. The household doesn't have any love. My father doesn't give anything to my mother.
Yeah.
Like
True.
he's not treasuring her. So this kid will grow up thinking that is the right way. And by the time maybe she's like 23, 24, when she's like, oh, she looks at other girls being lavished, spoiled and everything. It's like a new thing,
It's
and
like a new way
it's
of
traumatizing to know you went through all these things, and yet there's this other beautiful thing. So when you teach a kid that love and sex are different things, they're actually very, very diverse. I can love someone and not necessarily have feelings for them to have sex with them. So when someone grows up, dating should be, people at 13, 14 should be dating. They should. Because it's an enjoyable thing. But you should teach them.
Like you did at 13 and 14.
It is okay. What is dating? It is enjoying company with another gender. That is dating. So if she knows that is dating, not us of, you see, I saw you guys laugh. I think you guys are like relationship and all that. No! If you teach them the difference, and you tell them when you're 13, allow your girl to explore. Let her learn how to like talk to boys, get used to it, so that the next boy who will show attention should be like, that is a normal thing, because she has friends with boys. So as she grows up, she's learning. When the time is right, because my right time might not be her right time.
Definitely.
Because when I had sex, it was not my right time, and very many people were like, you're even too old. But to me, it was not my right time.
It was too old for you to have sex.
No,
Too young.
I felt like I was too young. Like I did
To have
it.
sex.
Yeah, and yet everyone was like, that you're too old, because it should be personal. It's a very personal thing, and it's a decision supposed to. If you teach the kids, it's a decision supposed to take personally. Because truthfully, even if your mother tells you how, if in my head I decide I'm going to do it, no one will make me feel like, especially with the pressure from the boys. Yeah, so it's the sisters should learn how to engage with their young sisters, and they should be, like she said, mindful of what you're doing in front of them. They are learning from our actions more than they're listening to our words.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yet when it comes to Mchala Kanyike, if you look at people of your age right now, and people of their age, there's that difference, and the way you guys take your things and the way you control yourselves. And for them, this is the age of exploring. They want to see what is new.
Like trains,
you move like they are moving at a very high speed, and sometimes they don't they really listen to advice from you people. So where is the problem? Like, how best can we give advices to the adolescents, the young boys and the young girls, when it comes to things of sex? Because for any teenager, if he or she hears about the word sex, of course he or she will give you attention. So how best can we guide them and not them to fall into problems? Because right now we are in quarantine, and Corona is coming, and we have very many young people girls getting pregnant unwanted because they're involving themselves into sex.
Okay. I would think there are like 3 points. One, I would be brief. One is just to get closer to them, befriending them, parents befriending the teenagers, and also to even peer educators, befriending. Then secondly, we would have our morals too. Then 3, we would have just to have like engage our teenagers. For example, you can find clubs like music clubs, involve them there, because as she said that an idle mind is a workshop to the devil. if they are empty there, anything can catch with them. But if you engage them, maybe you can even buy an organ they play in the house. You can have any game. Engage them so that by the time they are from the game, they are totally tired, they shower and have just one movie, which is just a good one. Then they sleep off, or they go for their homework and sleep off. Just engage them, then moral behaviors, and also befriend them.
Befriending them.
Yeah.
It's the key. Yes, Vicky, we're into a trend of no longer smoking tava. We are now smoking shisha. So trend like things change. And how best can we advise these young people of your age not to think that sex is something that everyone should go for at an early age? It should be something like you guys said, you do it when the right time comes or when you feel like it's the right time for you to have sex. How best can we pass on this information to this adolescent not to involve him or herself into sexual intercourse as we are winding up?
Okay, I think the best way would be to maybe put out information on social platforms. Yeah, sexual information on social platforms. This information will help educate and orient the child on their sexuality, because even if you educate the child that you are not supposed to have sex at this time, we have now new sexualities that have come about. We have homosexuals, lesbians, and what have you. So it's better you just put them on the platform, because parents may not get the time to talk to the children. And then another thing is also we have to get close to our parents. We are at an era where we have to get close to our parents and learn all the old culture, so that we move with it in this new trend. Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to Thea, we have had very many girls getting these infections, and also like heartbreaks right now. Like guys are checking themselves. And how best can these girls how best can you advise them for them not to feel like if a guy chucks me, it's the end of my life? If this girl or this guy chucks me, like that's not the end of my life. My life continues. I have my body, like I'm supposed to respect my body. I'm supposed to put a price on myself. I have a price tag. I'm worth this. How best can these girls know their prices, and how best can they not get into like not be taken by being heartbroken or being chucked?
Truthfully, no matter your age, a heartbreak is a heartbreak. That's the truth. The boyfriend who chucked me at 15 and the one who's breaking up with me at this time, it is the same pain, truthfully. If you are girls, the same pain. Even if someone is married and they are divorcing, it's still the same pain. But what am I doing after the heartbreak is the question. When I was my first break, I think I was 16, I cried the whole time, and of course there was no one I could tell. But I cried and cried and cried and cried, and oh my God, I hated myself. But at this age, because I know whatever it is, life goes on. Even if someone passes away, tomorrow life is going on. You're supposed to go to work, and no matter the case, you're supposed to teach them to love themselves. Because if I love me, even if you go, and for every girl watching this, for every man that won't, there are 5 men who will. Yeah. So if you're a girl, if I know I'm beautiful, I'm created in the Lord's image, I'm a treasure. Anyone who has me is lucky to have me. So if you go, it is your loss. You can go, and I will be hurt, because I still get heartbroken, of course. I'll still be hurt, but I know I still have like 10 men trying to get to me. So it is, if this child, especially if at 15, like you're young, 16, 17, maybe you're in school and not very many men are hitting on you. Now, like Vic at her age, even if you dump her right now, by evening, by 4, she might have a new boyfriend.
Somebody is what
Price,
something.
you're price on the pedestal. Yeah.
Yes, she's like a train, she's moving. But if you're 15, you're in school. And the kind of exposure we have right now isn't the same exposure. So we're meeting very many men, a man is meeting very many girls. But at school, you're like in an enclosure, and a school heartbreak hurts really, really more, because I remember when I was in senior 6, a boy left me because I couldn't have sex with him in school. And to me, because I was in a single school, I was taught about dignity and all these things. There is no way I was going to have sex with someone in a locker. But it was a trend at school, and he left me. Oh my God, I was devastated. And But because I knew from single school, at least, in my head I was like, at least I didn't do this. At least I'm not that girl who they did something to on a locker. So if you know yourself, and if you teach the girls, because the boys, truthfully, men are not like us. He's going to break up with you, even if you break up with him. Of course, okay, if someone is like 40 and you break his heart, he will be really hurt. But at 20, a boy is at your age. At your age, even if you get heartbroken, trust me, you're not serious. Any girl, you're not serious. And
Unfortunately, I'm not serious.
I know it. How much are you spending on a girl? Because
It depends on how much I earn and how much she asks from me.
Okay, let me ask you something. You earn a salary, right?
Yeah, I do.
Are you spending 80% of your salary on a girl?
No, that's practically impossible. I can't spend
It's
80%.
not impossible, but you're not. A man's heart is where his money is.
Yes.
If a man is investing in you 80% of his salary, he is really going to get heartbroken. So at my age, I should know a man should be investing in me. What he loves most, what is that? His money, his time, his attention. So a man is not really going to get heartbroken. First of all, the things you're doing for this girlfriend Vicky, you're also doing them for the other girlfriend Lydia, the other girlfriend Mercy. Vicky will break up with you because she refuses to have sex. You'll be like, Pastor Mercy is okay. She will give me
She's
some.
available. Yeah.
So for a guy, it's not really the same. But for every girl, a heartbreak is painful, and there is nothing that you can do about it. But if you know you're worth it, you know you're a beautiful girl, and there are very many other good guys out there that can really give you what you
But
need.
I'm looking for you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. What would be your last word, Vicky? In
My
one
last
or
one-
three,
my last
2
one
words.
is that a girl should always treat themselves as a prize.
Why don't you think about the boys as well?
A boy is not a prize.
Yeah.
A boy is not a prize. A boy is
I'm
like
the only man on this panel.
A boy is
a boy is
girl
receiving. A girl is giving. A girl, you wake up in the morning and a girl has all these attributes: the love, the care, the attention, the beauty. A boy has what? Money.
Let me reserve my words for the next. Yes, Mchala Kanyike, what are your last words to the viewers?
My last word is to all the teenagers watching out there, please value yourself. And besides that, just know education. So sex education, to us by our period, our age, we used to think it is even satanic teaching. Would even push it out, actually would say, Pastor today has preached in the flesh, not in the spirit. Because you are talking about the flesh. But we as we grow up, we realize that this is the reality of life. That we have to have this as life. It is not a dream, it is reality. So out there, just know sex is normal, but what age do you do it at, and what do you do? And just know that there are repercussions. There is death, there is school dropping out, there is frustration, heartbreaks, there is death. People die, people kill each other because of heartbreaks. But if you are broken in your heart out there, don't mind. Just have a trash bin. Through that, just go on. Know that the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
All parents, we love you so
Ladies
much.
and-
Continue to educate your children.
It is a very serious here. Yes, dear. What are your last words? I can see your actions. Okay, we'll proceed. Only 2 or 3 words.
I think to every girl, as Vicky and she said, learn how to love yourself. And even for the boys, they should learn how to love themselves. Because if you're a boy and you love yourself, you not give yourself to any girl. You look at yourself like, I'm valuable. I shouldn't be with Mercy, Lydia, and everything. Because the second you're having sex with someone, you're giving them a piece of you, and you will never get it back. I've had sex with people, and I wish I did, but I cannot undo it. So if you're 15, a 15-year-old boy, if you begin having sex, imagine at 20, at Sam's age, how many girls will
I
they be?
know, that's what I was
Girls are the ones wanting for us.
Yes, they might be, but if you're Sam and you
It's
know,
a spiritual
oh my God, I'm
connection. You
valuable,
cannot
I cannot
trust
give myself to anyone. So at
Definitely.
least they'll be like 5. But someone at 23 or 24, they have slept with 50 girls.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it is horrible. So everyone should learn how to love themselves.
Okay. Well, like this has been a discussion. We are discussing about sex. Remember, like S class, we are airing every single Friday in the week, and also some other days, but some programs that always come in. Remember, it has been sponsored by Nagu Youth Network. It's a youth corner that is found at China Fresh Hospital. They give free friendly services. Today we are discussing about sex, in adolescence, and who is supposed to educate an adolescent about sex? Is it the mother, the father, the church, or the community? Very many peers learn sex from different people. Like, to my boys, just know you also have to put a price tag on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you respect women, respect girls, respect your boyfriend, respect your girlfriend, respect whoever that you have, respect that person, because like everyone deserves respect. If you put a price tag on yourself, if you respect yourself, everyone's going to respect you, but nobody's going to respect you if you don't respect yourself. Put a price tag on yourself. Whether you're a border rider, or you're a taxi man, or whatever that you are, respect women. That's the only way to go. If you respect a woman, because they're the mothers of the nation, I respect them because of that. So thank you so much. See you next time. This has been S Class.